go in. Oops. We're supposed to go live, yes. But we have to, you know what we have to do, Chuck?
What do we have to do?
We have to play some nice music first so that our audience, as they walk in, they like to hear the kiffness.
Ooh, I even like the name Kiffness.
Oh.
Sometimes I'm not, sometimes I'm alone. Alone. Sometimes I'm alone, sometimes I'm not, sometimes I'm alone. Alone.
Hello.
That
Love
is
it.
Sad Kitty. I played that the first time, I think, for like over 3 years ago. And I thought,
Yeah.
well, we haven't played it in a while. I might as well play the Sad Kitty song because you and I were rushing around and we hadn't time to select a good opening. Oh, I got
Oh, just reminds me of Sasha, my Siamese, because Siamese, as you know, love to talk. She's very expressive.
I have heard.
My Sasha right now is in this box. I used to have a friend that worked at 20th Century Fox, so I have Fox boxes, and inside there you can see is my Sasha, who is sleeping right now, or was sleeping.
Now,
There you
does she like being in the box? Do you ever put
Oh
a
my
pillow in the
God!
box for
Have you
her?
ever seen a cat that does not love a box? No, I just had this sitting out because I'm doing a lot of rearranging in my apartment right now, where she just took this box over. I can't get it back.
Yeah,
But it
my
keeps you out of
cat.
trouble during the show.
I have a lot of boxes that come in because, as many of you know, I'm a naturopathic doctor, so I have stuff coming in, but I have 144 herbs now calculate. They counted
Whoa.
144 that I'm actively working. It's actually more because I have some seeds I'm working with that I don't sell. But yeah, every time a box comes in, my cat freaks out, and it's just like, it's a space alien that landed in the living room, Mom.
You know
And
what?
boxes.
Amazon
Yeah,
Amazon Prime is the greatest thing that ever happened for cats.
right, right.
Boxes every day.
Yeah, and the other thing is that cats love the smell of herbs. I don't know if everyone knows this
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
truly love the smell of herbs. And when they've done research on cats, they really love the nervines. So you'll often get a good reaction with catnip,
Oh, yes.
lemon balm, chamomile, valerian root. So
Mm,
basically anything that is a nervine, cats love the smell. So
interesting.
when the herbs come in, my cat will sniff them, and then she'll often make loud noises like, "Do you have any idea what the hell has come in here today? Ow!" Particularly
Kitty heaven, you know.
yeah,
Kitty nirvana.
when the valerian root comes in, she's like, "Oh my God, do you know what's inside here?" Because it's
Yeah.
such a strong smell.
Oh, I remember, because valerian is not a pleasant smell, at least to humans. I remember when we worked in the store, we sometimes would do displays of tea boxes and things. Valerian, you'd pass it and you'd want to sniff yourself because it smelled like bad body odor or like dirty tennis shoes.
Yeah, that people often say that it smells like dirty tennis shoes.
Dirty tennis shoes.
So how have you been, my love? How has
Oh.
your day been holding up?
My day's been holding up okay. I've been going through news events today and preparing for the show. I have a statement later from Harry Truman, but we'll get
Oh,
to that
wow.
later. I worked on that a bit. And of course, I'm still on this big project to reorganize my closets and drawers and organize, donate things, throw things out. And in theory, it seems simple. It's been far more complex, but I'm making progress. And how has
Cool.
your day been, Whimsy?
I don't know what I can say publicly, but I'm shopping around for patent lawyers for a potential lawsuit.
Okay.
So yeah, I got up at 4 in the morning just doing research on patent law, and I don't want to do this.
I know nobody really.
I never want to sue somebody, but I'm doing. That's what I'm up to. I know
We
it's
have to do what we have to do.
I know. I just don't want to do it. So
Yeah.
listen, have you read the book yet? This is our book of the month, Atlantis. My cough is gone, so if I cough now, it's because I'm nervous. Because psychologically, I got over the cold like 3-4. That chronic cough I had from like that lingering cold, it went away.
Yeah.
But psychologically,
Yes.
now I have this fear I'm going to start coughing.
Oh, sure. I understand. We both go through this. We've got several thousand people who watch us, and there are fears like I'm going to cough, I'm going to sneeze, or something worse.
Yeah. Because
anything
I
where
had
we
a
embarrass
cough
ourselves.
that went on for a year, and it drove people crazy. And so every time now when I get a cold, I'm like, oh my God, I hope it goes away. Anyway, so I'm fine.
Anyway.
But listen, this is our book of the month, Atlantis Falling, a novel by Adam Gabriel Stone. What do you think?
Well, so far, I'm not at the halfway point yet, but I'm getting through it. I'll tell you a little bit of irony. I spilled a big glass of water all over the book this morning and soaked the book thoroughly through. And I thought of the irony. Here it is, Atlantis, the waves, the ocean coming in. I couldn't help but think of the irony of it. But anyway, as you can see, my book has dried out.
You have really made love to that book.
I have what?
You have made love to that book.
Oh, yes. You can see all the dog ears and bent pages, and I've carried it around, and I've even given it a bath.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
Well, let's go into it. Prince Andrew has been officially stripped of his titles, according to the BBC, and now just released by the ABC and several other news channels. It looks like King Charles has not only stripped Andrew of his prince title, but he has been removed as well.
He's lived nearly rent-free near Windsor Castle is on. Britain's King Charles says he's now initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors of Prince Andrew. Of course, it comes in response to his relationship with sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Buckingham Palace saying that Andrew will now go by the name of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. For more, let's bring in our foreign correspondent Patrick Rebel, who's been...
What, are you surprised, Chuck?
No, not in the least. We've all seen this coming. And actually, this goes back to 2022 when the Queen had already stripped him of a lot of his privileges and perks as a prince. I don't know she took his titles away, but when he had to go to trial, and I think here in the States, she said, you're going to do this as a private citizen and not as a royal. And we've known for years that King Charles has been wanting to downsize, pare down the royal family, make it more efficient, more modern. And we've known for a long time that former Prince Andrew was on that list of people to be cut. There's been a lot of animosity between the two brothers anyway.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and now with all of these scandals associated with Andrew, I mean, the royal family just wants to wash their hands of this. So yeah, I saw that. I think the news broke here around noon on the West Coast, which would make it at 8, 9 o'clock over in Britain. I think apparently it was just announced. But yeah, he's even having his title of prince removed. And it was my understanding that was the one thing they couldn't take away just because he's the biological son of a queen. But I guess they can take the title away. They can take everything away. And I think Charles is actually taking the formal steps with Parliament to formally remove everything.
So it goes back to the remote views I've done on William, which is we settle our differences privately in this family.
Yeah.
We don't air our dirty laundry like commoners. This is the mentality we're dealing with here.
Mm-hmm.
So, he probably doesn't see a difference between his brother and Andrew at this point, even though one is a pedophile and one just got married and left with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody, the cardinal sin is don't speak ill of this family, don't you think?
Exactly. But of course, Harry.
Or look bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But Harry already did that when he wrote that book. I don't think there's ever been a member of the royal family to actually write a book about what goes on within the family. So that was a cardinal sin to itself. But yeah, this is a devastating scandal the royal family does not want to be associated with in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, I don't know when it officially takes effect, if it's immediate or if it's in the coming days, but it's going to affect formerly known as Prince Andrew.
Formerly known as Prince.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
God, SNL would have so much fun with that.
Oh, and I bet they will. I bet
formerly
they will.
known as Prince.
Yeah. And then of course,
I bet they could have
Ferguson,
a lot of fun with
she
that.
loses her titles also. She will no longer be a duchess. And I don't know, maybe this is just the way my mind works, but I keep thinking of like sitcoms. Like I think of the time on Bewitched when Uncle Arthur and Serena lost their powers and they had to become commoners. Remember that episode? And they ended up working in a stand rolling bananas and chocolates and nuts because they didn't have their powers anymore. Or I think of any situation where someone has a fall from grace, like someone who was very rich and they lose their fortune and they have to start all over again. There's all kinds of scenarios here. I shouldn't be making light of it, but I can't help but think of that. Oh, yes. Wendy Byrne, he is getting kicked out of the Royal Lodge. That was announced today also. Definitely. He's been served his notice. Joel Tilson, don't cry about Andrew Windsor. He has amassed over 100 million pounds in funds. I wasn't aware of that. No, I don't think many of us are going to be crying for him.
Are you surprised that he was thrown to the wolves?
No. I think because we've seen this coming for several years now, and also knowing King Charles's prior sentiments towards Andrew, I'm not surprised at all. I was just surprised they took his actual prince title away. I thought that was the one thing he had left that could not be touched. It can. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, all right. While people are coming in, Chuck, can we, sorry, can we, I started coughing, psychological. Can we say hi to everybody who's come
Oh,
in?
of course
Give our
we
greetings.
can. We have the
I
best
wanted to
people.
go ahead and start with that. And
Yeah,
then
so
that's like the appetizer.
that's the appetizer. Okay.
I hear the in the
I
shower.
I hope I always worry about pronouncing names correctly. I hope I'm getting this right. Is it Van Dillen or Van Dilan? Please pardon me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. But hello, we're happy to have you here. Gigi Pardo Lord, Anthony Rizzo, the barber,
Hi,
Brenda,
Anthony.
Brenda Rakestraw, our floor director Joel Tilson. We're so appreciative of you.
Joel, thank you.
Intuitive Kathy. Hi, Intuitive Kathy. Wendy Burt, your fabulous hat designer. Renee Ament, Jill Linda, Tavi, the Sybil, Rockin' Pony Lady, Tavi, Ingrid H. Let's see, Jill Linda, Ingrid H. I hope I'm not rereading names here. And Never Too Late to Dream. That's kind of a motto for my life right now.
There you go.
Prove Husky, crafting and conjuring. Oh, that's a great name. Scorpio 8763, Catherine Smith, Jonquil Pearl.
Oh my goodness, so many
okay.
cool names.
Yes.
I think we can, you want to finish up?
Well, one more. I was actually going to say, here's a name I don't know how to pronounce correctly. Please forgive me. Whimsy, do you know how to pronounce that? This person's name?
I don't know where you're at, sweetie.
Kaloli SF.
Okay.
I apologize for mangling your name. I try so hard to get these things right. We have Michelle here and Alexandra.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you, Chuck, for doing that. I'm sorry. I know everyone likes to be greeted, but we have a lot of stuff to cover. As you know, in addition to the fact that we never again will be saying Prince Andrew because there isn't a Prince Andrew.
No.
So I thought that would be kind of interesting to open the show with that. So this just from Joel Tilson. The Senate voted to repeal Trump's tariffs today by 5 GOP joining the Democrats. Will this stop Trump's tariffs or will SCOTUS do so? And I guess in addition to that question, Joel, I think what ultimately I would like people to think about is, do you think that Trump is getting weaker? His power with the GOP is slipping. Is this a sign of that?
I think it is. I mean, because, we in the past 9 months or so have just seen the Republicans rubber stamping everything. And the fact that you've actually got some Republicans in defiance voting this way, to me, that's a definite sign that Trump is increasingly being looked upon as a lame duck. Obsolete, ready to throw under the bus. They don't fear. It's showing signs they don't fear him so much anymore.
Right. Because he can't run again, and because he's sick, and they're already focusing on the 2028 campaign. And they say if you want to win, you have to throw your hat in the ring 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
Before.
There is talk that Kamala Harris may still run. It was on the news the other day.
Really? She said she was done.
I know she has said that, but it's being bandied around. People are saying that in private, maybe she is talking about running again.
God, she went through hell dealing with.
I know she did. But it's still speculative. Intuitive Kathy. Hi, Joel. My guess is that everything going against Trump will end up in the Supreme Court. And that's a little scary if it goes to the Supreme Court, because with that conservative majority and with 3 Trump appointees, I wonder if they'll do the right thing or if they'll just continue to give Trump more power. And it's interesting, as the Supreme Court keeps doing this, they're actually taking away their own powers. They're weakening themselves. Right. Okay.
Yes. Can you talk a little bit about that, Chuck? Can you elaborate on that?
Well, it's weakening the power of the courts around the nation, because the Supreme Court is the ultimate court where it all ends up. When they make these decisions, giving more and more power to Trump, they are taking away their own authority, from all the courts. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's going to end up. I don't know if you have your own opinion on that.
Well, they say that's the banana republic, right? Where the
Yeah.
dictator has all the power and he's the head of the military, and then they weaken the courts and they weaken the legislative.
Yeah.
And so the more power he has, the weaker the legislative, the weaker the courts.
Which has been his intention, but it's just, as Kamala Harris said herself, she is amazed at all of the capitulation. The House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, they're just they have been giving Trump everything he wants and just turning him into this dictator that he's trying to be. And obviously it can't be supported. I think back to that message from Eleanor Roosevelt I read on here, that I channeled 2 weeks ago, where she was talking about this. She said the very nature of I'm paraphrasing my own channeling here, but she said the very nature of a dictator is that they feel they are superior to all of us. And she was making the point that nobody is superior. We are all equals. Trump is no better than the migrant worker in the Los Angeles car wash.
Of course not. That's insane.
We are equal as souls. So Eleanor was saying in that message, the universe will never support this. And this is why almost every dictator eventually falls, because it goes against the laws of the universe. Nobody can claim that they are superior over everyone else.
Thank you. And that is why I tell people, and to remind people, that MAGA is not sustainable.
No,
it's not a philosophy that can survive, because the whole it's eat or be eaten. Well, if you act like that, you're not going to have constituents.
Yeah.
So it has no future. Eat or be eaten, that is a very primitive 1950s view of Darwin's general theory of evolution. But now it's been supplanted. And now we're thinking more in terms of, we evolved through cooperation. We now see in the archaeological dig that people who were blind and had no teeth were kept alive because other members in their tribe were cooking soup and taking care of them. And so the truth of the matter is, what kept humans from going extinct was cooperation, love, caring, was oasis, right? I always talk about this concept of an oasis. But oasis can exist anywhere. It exists inside of us. It's this idea of, are you a safe space? And what's that going to look like for you? Who gets to come into your personal space and who's in exile? And I think that what's happened in the United States is that we have just become this incredibly angry, toxic place. And a lot of people feel like they don't have that anymore. They don't have a safe space.
Mm-hmm. I love what you just said about how we all have an oasis within ourselves, because that's one of the other messages I think I've been channeling, you've been channeling in our readings, is that to survive all of this, we have to find that core peace within ourselves, that core happiness within ourselves, because that's where we get our personal strength and power from. And all of the messages I've been channeling, a common theme is collectively, when we take our powers, like a little drop of water has all the components of the entire ocean. You put enough drops together, you get an ocean. We are so much more powerful than this very weak president, even though he tries to purport himself as being so strong. He's not. And we're seeing the evidence of him falling apart right now.
Yeah, I don't think I'm better than anybody else.
Never.
I'm glad you brought this up. I really don't think I'm better. And I don't want to ever suffer from that disease of thinking that I'm better than anybody else. But I do believe that a single person can change the world, because I wrote a peace proposal and it got adopted, right? Like a lot of those elements were adopted. And who am I? I'm just a little nobody, right? I have a little TV show, YouTube channel. It's, we're not at 100K yet. So it is important to, on the one hand, nobody's better than anybody else, but at the same time, don't underestimate just how powerful you are. Like who the heck am I? I just had an idea. I worked really, really hard.
Very hard.
And then amazing things happened. And same with me being a doctor. I feel the same way about, people say, that they can't do certain things. Sure. Whatever it is in life, find out what it is you want to do with your life and just keep working at it.
Yeah. I don't mean to keep bringing up channeled messages I've read in previous weeks, but I'm also thinking about what Elizabeth Taylor said through one of my messages when she was talking about the importance of us giving our talents, giving our love to others. And she used these words. I remember this. She said, it's that simple and it's that bold all at the same time. Like
Mm.
what you're doing is very powerful.
Sounds
What you
like
have done
amazing. I'm so
is
sorry you
very
didn't get to
powerful.
have that lunch with her.
I am too. Well, in a way, I am having lunch with her. It's just in a different form now.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and do the empath prayer. If you would like to receive a healing at this time, go ahead and give us your name or the name of someone you love, and we will include you in our prayers today. And don't forget to check out the book of the month.
Oh,
It is Atlantis Falling, and it's written by Adam Gabriel Steinmetz. Atlantis Falling. It's quite interesting. Did you find it interesting?
oh yeah. This is going to be a fun interview next week.
Mhm.
We did determine it is next Tuesday.
Yeah,
You know, I started laughing after I thought about it. We were talking about cognitive tests, you know, the type of questions like what day of the week this is and so forth. And you and I couldn't remember if it was next Tuesday, if that was November 4th.
I missed my violin class on Monday because I was all
Oh.
upset with GoDaddy. What a nightmare company. Oh my God.
Mhm.
I'm calling them like, why can't I get into my email? It was because my address had changed from the credit card. That's why.
That's
But
why.
they couldn't figure that out until 3 days later. So instead, they just sold me a bunch of stuff. Well, you need a new email. I'm like, I don't know what the hell's happening. It's a
Yeah.
nightmare.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
yeah, so you know, I ended up forgetting about my class. I never showed up. Like
No.
it's an online, and she's like, Dr. Anderson. I'm like, yeah. So
Well, darn you, GoDaddy.
yeah, it was and I had to pay for that class too. All right, let's go ahead. We'll do the empath's prayer, and then we can blitz away. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively, we say, Amen. And for those of you who are requesting a healing today, we come together at this time and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together collectively, again, we say, Amen, Amen, Amen. May all souls be healed.
May all souls be healed.
May all souls be healed. All right. What do you think about this latest question with Joe?
Will both sides in the Senate compromise tomorrow to pass a budget?
Let's take a look. Oh, I heard the Senate is being sent back. They said, wait a minute. You guys, I don't know if that was John Toon also recessed the Senate until 3 p.m. Monday.
3 p.m. Monday. So I guess there really can't be anything tomorrow. But, you know, there are things going on. Like there's a judge in Massachusetts who, you know, she ruled, you know, about that reserve fund of about $6 billion for emergencies and what's going on with SNAP right now. She said, I can't think of a bigger emergency than this. Why is this being held? Because it was a coalition, I think, of 23 state attorney generals and 3 governors, all Democrats, that sued over this. And she ruled in favor of that money being released. It's not enough because I think to run SNAP, it's like $9 billion a month, but at least it will partially subsidize people. It will keep people going for a while because there's so many people who are critically dependent upon SNAP benefits, you know, including children, senior citizens, handicapped people who will go hungry because of this. So that much may go through. Well, I know I said this on Tuesday. I'm just astounded by the sheer cruelty of this.
Senior old woman who can't buy a damn slice of bread. What the hell happened to us?
Exactly.
And you
The
call
richest
yourself
nation
Christians?
in the world.
And these people claim to be Christian. You're not.
I know they do. No, I
You're
agree
not a
with you.
Christian.
These are fake Christians.
Jesus was a liberal, man.
Oh,
He didn't say, I need to see your ID before I give you that bread and fish.
thank
Now,
you.
are you an illegal immigrant entering into Judea? Like,
You know, some of these fundamentalist Christians, I've often thought, what if Jesus actually showed up at their door? You have this long-haired man with dark skin, and he's wearing a sheet, and he's barefoot and sandals. They'd be calling Homeland Security. They'd be calling ICE, in all probability, if Jesus showed up at their door.
That's right.
Yeah. Trump apparently is talking about testing nuclear weapons again for the first time in 40 years. I saw that today, and there's some alarm about it. And again, it goes back to things like, here's this man in mental decline with the nuclear codes. It's scary as hell. But yeah, he did. He directed the Pentagon to resume testing of nuclear weapons. Now, in my notes I had from the news, it was after a 33-year moratorium. And the order came ahead of his meeting with the Chinese president. Am I pronouncing this right? Xi
Jinping. Yeah.
Xi Jinping. Okay. And it has already drawn international condemnation, and critics are warning it could set off a whole new arms race.
So he's smashing the East Wing, which has the nuclear bunker.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about nuclear testing. Do you think he wants the nuclear bunker to be fixed and modernized?
Oh,
Is that what's
definitely.
happening? Okay.
Well, you and I have talked about that might be the real reason for this ballroom. You even brought up the fact that Hitler did this. He built a ballroom on top of his bunker, and the existing bunker, I don't know when it was last updated. I know that the East Wing
was when it was put in the 50s.
Okay, because I know the East Wing, a lot of completion was done around 1942 during the Roosevelt administration. So I didn't know if the bunker even went back to that. But obviously, it is not up to par with modern nuclear weapons. So that might be the real reason for this. But you know, something I find curious, you would think something like that they would want to build in secret. We're going to have satellites overhead and drones watching every single thing taking place on the White House property. How are they going to cover up something like that? How are they going to build something like that in secret without our competitors, our enemies, seeing that with their own spyware?
Let's take a look. Let's see what's really going on. See if we can get some cards to tell us what's going on with the build of the East Wing and the nuclear buildup, if there's a relationship. Also, if you haven't had a chance to like and share and subscribe, we would love it as we march boldly to 100,000 subscribers. We're going to get there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. We do appreciate you. Getting anything here. I feel like your cards are going to be far more specific, but two cards that came out, this is definitely around survival, which of course is what a nuclear bunker would be. But we are going to learn the truth about this. There's no way they can hide this, you know. But for one thing, what it was planned to tear down the East Wing, but the way Trump did it so impetuously, there was no way to plan it out properly, to cover up things like this, to do this in the proper increments. You know, you and I even discussed, were the artifacts, the artwork and things saved, and you in your remote viewing showed that it was just moved to the archives, but it was noted that nobody saw any moving vans outside. Any curators.
No, it doesn't have to, because you have multiple levels, and then you have a storage area, which I told you about, which is directly under the main floor, and I think it's opposite the kitchens, if I'm not mistaken, just based on the remote viewing I've done.
Yeah, but it was done impetuously and haphazardly. Right. There's no question about that. I think it would have been done far more carefully. But yeah, I think a lot of truth is going to come out. I wish I had something more specific here in the cards, but
well, I can
that's all they want to say.
I unfolded a lot. I can show you.
I knew I could count on you, Whimsy.
Well, the first is that there was an investigation that happened with the Pentagon regarding the bunker that was happening and maintenance of the bunker, and the fact that they had to do a rebuild. I'm not so sure that originally they thought they would have to smash the East Wing, but there was evidence. This is a blueprint on real estate. So this was planned for some time. They already had a blueprint, which takes a really long time. So the Pentagon most likely had been developing over the last couple of years.
Mhm.
That you've got that.
Do you think it could have been longer than 2 years even?
2.5 years is what I'm picking up.
Okay.
Change of the situation, but it had to be done from the Pentagon's perspective. They had actually delayed it under the Biden administration. They were patient, and then they gave the go-ahead. It was a security issue for the bunker, and it had to be done. It was planned a couple of years ago.
That's what I keep sensing. What has been there is too archaic right now.
Well, that's the other thing, is that, if it was planned 2.5 years ago, did they plan for it to look like this, where somebody was literally smashing through half the freaking? I need to get some water, but
Yeah.
yeah. So why don't you go ahead and say hi to people? Like this, I've been drinking this, and it tastes like my cat's whiskers. She drinks my water. So yeah, just if you can say hi to people. Just
Okay.
1 minute. I got to get some fresh water.
It's okay here. I'd see. I think I already said crafting and conjuring here. Sally Joe, Sugar Baby's mama, Anita K, Renee Ahmed, Josh, Dennis Tucker, Jay. Let's see here. I'm trying to find some other names here that I have not read already. But Paperback Writer. Hey there. I always like your name. Let's see here. Forgive me. Barbara Craig, Clarence Fields. Butterflies are free. These are great names. Carrie G. We have a lot of good friends here with us.
All right. No cat whiskers this time.
Well, I'm relieved to hear that, Whimsy.
No cat whiskers this time. Okay. Yeah. So my cards basically said that 2.5 years ago, from what we could ascertain, the Pentagon had come to the conclusion that the bunker had to be redone, and that, well, it has to get done. We've delayed it. We have to do it. So it was planned 2.5 years ago. Three of Pentacles is a blueprint. And when I went in, when you meditate on a card using remote viewing, which is something we're going to talk about, we start class next Sunday, 5 p.m. This Sunday, not 5 p.m. But what you do is you get yourself relaxed and you just gaze and ask the question as you gaze at the card. And if you're in a centered place, sometimes you'll start to have visions. That's how I use remote viewing. So when I gaze at the Three of Pentacles, I saw, oh, that's real estate. And then I found myself in the Pentagon, and they were saying, well, it's got to be done. So this was delayed. So you're right. If they built it in 1958, and then they've periodically gone down and checked for maintenance, they probably, it has to get done. It was something like that.
Yeah. I'm even thinking the immense size of the ballroom, because isn't the ballroom going to be like 2.5 times the size of the White House itself? Maybe that's to cover a very, very large bunker.
That's part of it, but also it's not a bad idea to do that, because when you have major events like egg rolls and those sorts of things where some of the public is brought in, you do need bigger spaces. So it's not his ballroom. It's really the people's ballroom. And there are certain events where we had so much overflow in the past where they would have the events on the lawn. So it was always historically a problem. Y'all know that, right? So as a result, they've often had, and certain things that couldn't happen outside. It's brutally cold, January 20th, but
I've been there in the winter. I grew up in Virginia. I used to go to Washington, D.C. Hotter than hell in the summer, very humid, and freezing in the wintertime.
I don't think it was always done outside. I think that it had to do more with a desire of the people to see it. But God, it's so cold out in such bad weather. And I know people that have worked for, the government, and they've been invited to go to the egg roll with their kids or certain things like that. And it's like thousands and thousands. You think you're so special, and then you show up and there are all these other people. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that they needed a venue like that.
Yeah.
I think it's the optics. I think it would have happened whether he was there, based on what I can gather. It's the optics, and it's the fact that he keeps talking about nuclear weapons that has people nervous.
Yeah, yeah, and justifiably so. I'm thinking also one of the reasons for building a much larger bunker, maybe they intend it for the full House and Senate, the Supreme Court, the president. They want to be able to get everybody in one place in a nuclear bunker.
Yeah, it reminds me of the few times that I've been to in remote viewing. I've been to Buckingham Palace maybe 3-4 times, and I don't know why I can get in, and I don't know why this keeps happening. But once I entered through the back, through the gardens, and I floated up into the ballroom, and it was a massive ballroom, and there was an event going on, and it was the graduating high school that Queen Elizabeth was a patron of. And they were graduating, and there was a like a whistle that said you can come into the ballroom. And there were these girls standing there in nice dresses, and they were standing and they were sipping tea and having a cookie. And in the remote, I saw, oh, we're not allowed to sit. This is only a 20-30 minute thing we do. And we do it every year because the Queen is the patron of our high school. And so they show up and they get to wear their pretty gowns and they get to pose with friends for half an hour. And then the whistle blows. And then that's it, honey. You got to go. You can't stay in the ballroom because the ballroom is being, other groups need to come and use it. But that was really cool. And I floated around the round ballroom, and I saw all the girls standing and sipping their tea. And wow, we're in Buckingham Palace. And then the dreaded whistle goes, okay, now we have to, thanks for coming. You got to go now. So I learned a lot from that remote by floating up and finding myself in the middle of this thing, because first off, the time difference is fantastic if you're a remote viewer and you're doing astral projection work, because it's an 8-hour time difference. So it might have been, and I always remote view like an hour or two before I wake up. So it must have been like 5, 6, 7 in the morning. So it was like an afternoon tea in London. So I just popped out in the middle of an afternoon tea in the ballroom of Buckingham Palace. And I wound up like, oh, what the hell's happening? Who are all these girls? Oh, y'all, we're nice. We're graduating. Oh, congratulations. Where do you go to school? We go to such and such school. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, the Queen's a patron of our school. We get to come here every year, the graduating class. Like, I got to hear the whole story. So when I hear this story about the ballroom, I think about that ballroom, and it will probably be leased for situations like that, I would think. The graduating classes and the various different people that will want to come there and experience it. It's the fact that he's doing it. That's the issue we have.
You had tea at Buckingham Palace in the ballroom, and I bet it didn't taste like cat whiskers.
Well, it was, excuse me, it was people very posh pouring the tea, and then you got to stand there and you had a biscuit and you got to talk with your friends and wow, and see the beauty of the room. And maybe you had 30 minutes to have the experience. And then there was as an announcement that please exit through such and such. We're like, well, that was your experience. And then maybe after that, you go to the gardens and you get to pose with pictures. And the whole process probably takes more than an hour. It's very organized. That's what I saw.
When you're dealing with the Queen, I'm sure everything is done to the last little letter in detail. It's all planned out.
The other thing, yeah, go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say, I read the other day that she planned her own funeral 30 years prior to her death because she was so detail oriented. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, it was like that. Only the other thing that happened in the remote when I was floating around was I was thinking, when's the Queen coming? When's the Queen coming? And then someone said, the higher self you connect with, said, oh, the Queen's not coming. She never comes. So they rent. Yeah. So they go and they get to have this experience, but the queen is in her private apartments. She's not going down into the ballroom. She might come out and hear her and then go back into her apartments, but she's not going to go be a part of that. Yeah, and she lives on, I guess I can say this now because she's passed, but she lived, if you're going into Buckingham Palace, she lived around the corner on the right side. That's how you would get in. And and the ballroom is below her on that same side. And and the queen had an adjoining apartment with around on the other side with the prince. So I was able to see all of that and the private hall. And entering through the private steps. Yeah, I got to see it all.
I still remember when we were working together in the store and you told me that vision you had of the queen's apartments, and you said it was surprisingly small, and you even said there were like dirty dishes in the sink.
That's
that
right.
hadn't been taken care of. And what else did you say? It was rather surprising because you said it was very modest.
There was a woman assisting the queen. She looked like she was about a size 12. She was a big woman. She had long brown hair, and she was a little bit nervous. She wanted to make sure everything was okay for various different things that had to happen. And it was day-to-day attendance as opposed to her main assistants. There was a woman there she did little things like cleaning up, boiling an egg, 3-minute egg. That was, what I saw was a 3-minute egg. I saw the cleanup of a breakfast, a simple breakfast, which was probably prepared by that woman or that's the other thing. I don't think that she brought breakfast up. I think it's made right there in the kitchens from what I saw.
So, well, what I have read who were people who were in Queen Elizabeth's private circle of friends, they said that she was actually a very simple woman.
Yeah, I got the impression that this woman had boiled the egg, had gotten the toast, had gotten the marmalade, had served it all for the queen, and then had put it over there. And then things were a little bit hectic. And then I had entered in energetically. And I found out who she was because I read an article that when Meghan came to Britain, she needed a finishing woman to help her. And I saw a picture of the woman who was like the size 12 with the long brown hair and I said, that's the woman from the remote. And then I read Queen Elizabeth's trusted assistant was tasked with, and I was like, that's her. That's the woman that cooked the egg. It was crazy to actually physically see the person that I had seen in the remote.
Yeah, that is wild.
Absolutely crazy.
They didn't use language like lady in waiting or anything like that. She was just the queen's assistant, but
boiling the egg and bringing the tea on the tray. Yeah. And there was a back room though. You come in and you have the foyer and you have a sitting area, and then you have a kitchen, and then you have her private area. And that's the area, that's a private area you're not going to go through. So the assistant made her something and went through the private area and brought it to her and then came back out. And then I was there in the area by the kitchens. And then I energetically, I was able to connect with Elizabeth. She was complaining about her husband. She was talking about all their marriage problems, and the fact that she never complained. She never explained, never complained. She just put up with it.
They've shown all that on The Crown. Have you watched any of that?
No, but
I think you'd enjoy it.
She told me about it. She says, I never told that he did this, he did that. She kept it. She kept a stiff upper lip. She was very well, she told her mother, I want a divorce. I want to divorce him right now, but you've only been married for a day.
You can't. You're the queen, for God's sake, But I remember reading.
He's this, and he's rude, and he's this, and he's this. I'll talk to your father. I got in the middle of that conversation. Yeah, the next, I want a divorce. You leave and take your dowry with you. That's what she said. Leave. Take your dowry with you. That was their first fight. And then the queen mother came in. How's married life? What a divorce. You just got married, darling. Well, yeah, he's rude. He doesn't know how to talk to me.
Oh, this does sound like an episode of The Crown.
Yes, and so the queen mom said,
Claire Foy.
Right, I'll speak with your father. So you're going to take care of it. That's right. You're going to speak to my father. You're going to take care of it right now because he's a poor pauper and I'm the queen and I happen to be the queen and you can take your bloody dowry with you. I don't need to get out of here. kind of an attitude. I witnessed it, and I was like, "Oh my god, that was their first fight."
You know what? I think you have
You like
just
the way you talk to him,
you
to
have
her.
just topped your impression of Lindsey Graham. I'm going to be getting you to do Queen Elizabeth more
I
often on
love,
the show.
I love the line she gave him: "Leave and take your dowry." It's like, who would say such a thing? Like when I heard that, I was like, "Oh my, he had a dowry."
Well, that's like there was a story. It's a famous story where the Queen and the Queen Mother were having a little argument, and the Queen Mother said, "Who do you think you are talking to me like that?" And she replied, "I'm the Queen, Mummy. That's who I am, the Queen."
Yeah, so I guess in the remote, what I learned, what I was allowed to see, is the Queen Mom was like, "Right, I'll speak to to my husband. So I'll speak to your father." So she went and spoke to the father. "We're having a bit of a problem." Oh, it's like I'm going. So he had to go and take a walk with his new son-in-law and have a little
Mhm.
conversation about the appropriate way to talk to my daughter and so he couldn't talk to her like the other girls he had dated. I mean, good God, what a nightmare.
I know.
And that was can you imagine on your frickin' wedding night, you're getting into a fight like that?
I know.
But look at how long they stayed together.
Oh my God, their marriage was over 70 years, wasn't it? Let me see. I think they got married 1948. So how many years were they married? I getting close to 75, I think.
I'm on a naturopathic diet, an anti-inflammatory diet,
Yeah.
and I do use a little bit of foundation, but the main thing is that I don't eat junk food. I'm pretty health conscious.
Yeah. You look very
Occasionally a burger. Occasionally I'll go have a burger with Chuck, but
I can attest to that.
once every 6 months we used to break down and go get a burger.
Oh, we were bad. We were bad.
What was your favorite? Was it
Astro Burger?
That's
Astro
right.
Burger on Santa Monica Boulevard. And I don't know if you know the story, but the night Hilary Swank won her second Oscar, she left the Oscar party and went to Astro Burger.
Burgers are so good there.
Yeah, she went to Astro Burger in her evening gown with her Oscar in her hand and went there for burgers and fries.
And she's a vegan, so she ended up getting their
this
vegan
was like
burger.
10, 15 years ago.
No, she got their veg. She was the one that
that's what
promoted
she
their veggie burger.
Okay.
So she was like wolfing down this vegan burger and fries, and was like, because and so after that, everybody wanted the sales for the vegan fry at Astra went vegan burger went through the roof.
Well, they even put a big picture over the table. You and I sat at that table of her chowing down on her burger with her Oscar on the table.
It looks so damn good. I used to go there and order the vegan burger just because the Hillary Swank is what they started calling it.
Yeah, but I don't think we got the vegan burgers, did we? We were bad.
No, I have gotten after that picture of her just wolfing them down. I'm like, man, she's making that vegan burger look good. So then they were like, a Hillary Swank. I'll try to take the Hillary Swank.
Yeah. I remember that night because I was across the street at Morton's restaurant where one of the Oscar parties was taking place. Hillary was so sweet. She walked over to us and let us hold her Oscar. She passed it around. So I held Hillary's Oscar that night.
Oh,
she was just so adorable. Tiny little woman. I was surprised how little she was. And she was just jumping up and down and so excited and happy.
Wow.
Okay, from Web Shiva. Rumor is that another girl is about to come forward, so the Windsors are trying to get ahead of the story. I certainly wouldn't doubt that.
Power is being a powerful man, being a man or a woman in a position of power, it comes with big responsibilities,
Sure.
whether you're a king or you're a president. It's to do what is morally and ethically right when you don't have to must be very difficult.
I'm certain of that.
I think of like the great presidents and the people we've had in power here in the United States, and you wonder like how much is just public advertising and what was really going on privately.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. because
Yeah.
biographies, historical accounts have been notorious for embellishment. You know, going back to George Washington, I never told a lie.
Right.
I think he chopped that chair.
And Truman was
You know?
and Truman was more a ladies' man than they let on to, too, because
Yeah, you told
according
me
to
something I didn't know.
yeah, Gloria Swanson supposedly had a love affair with him, which I think is, to each
I
his
find
own.
that fascinating because she
Roll
I
over, this is your president. That was
because
what she claimed, yeah.
I know in her autobiography she talked about how she had a long affair with Joe Kennedy, John Kennedy's father.
Right.
You know, when he was a movie producer. In fact, that you've seen Sunset Boulevard, haven't you?
Of course.
Yeah, well, you know that scene where they're showing the silent movie on the screen in the living room, and Max is the projectionist. Well, that was from a film called Queen Kelly, and Joe Kennedy was the producer of that film, and it was a massive flop. You know, it just went way, way over budget, and it's probably more famous because it was used in Sunset Boulevard. But she had
Wow.
an affair with Joe Kennedy for a long, long time. I remember when Gloria Swanson was interviewed, you know, when her autobiography came out, and she said the Kennedy family actually wanted her to write a page in like the family book or something, reminiscences. And she said, what was I going to say? What was I going to say? I was screwing the patriarch of the family, you know, so she politely declined.
Well, supposedly she was away on holiday and she stayed with the Trumans, and she was staying at at the guest house, and she was awakened by the president, who slipped into her bed and announced that to wake up, that scoot over, it's your president.
I don't think Bess would have been too happy about that.
I don't.
Maybe
Yeah,
she just knew. Maybe she just knew.
that's what I'm saying. You never know. So, talk to us about Truman. What do you
Well,
think?
Harry Truman. Yeah, because you know you've given me this wonderful assignment to channel a celebrity every Thursday. You know, and I thank you for that because you've helped me to step up my game quite a bit. You were the one who actually encouraged me to do this in the first place. You know, I mentioned a few months ago this used to scare the hell out of me, coming on here saying I am a medium, I channel celebrities, but the response has been so overwhelmingly positive from all of you, and I'm very grateful for that. But you know, someone said, why are you channeling so many women? I don't know, maybe it's because I just connect with feminine energy very well, but I was determined, okay, I'm going to find a man today. And I just started sitting, pondering who could I channel? And I thought about, now, which president would be the antithesis of Donald Trump? And I immediately thought Harry Truman. I thought, can I tune into him? So I just spent some time, like I usually do, meditating. I have my pen, my journal. Sometimes I take my iPad and I type if they're talking too fast because I can't write fast enough. And Harry did come through. I feel it's authentic. I spent a little time with this because he's someone I've never channeled before. I had to edit it down a little because sometimes, I don't know if you get this, Whimsy, when you're trying to channel, it's almost like a radio signal. To try to
Yes.
pick it up, and I could feel it like coming in and out. And then sometimes I thought, now how much is this just unnecessary, superfluous rambling? But I feel, because I tested this, and I feel in my heart of hearts it is authentic from Harry Truman. And it was interesting because he was speaking to me sometimes in shorthand. This is what Lucy, when I channeled Lucille Ball a few weeks ago, she, you know, when I was talking about how she was a victim of the McCarthy era. And she was saying, look, you already know the history, so I don't need to talk about all this. You fill in the blanks, the historical context. Harry Truman was basically saying, okay, you know some of the quotes already that have been attributed to me. Fill in the blanks. You have my blessing here. So I'm going to note where it's not my channeling, and this is just plain history. You know, like Give 'em Hell Harry. That's an example. The buck stops here. Obviously, I did not channel that. That's just history. But from Harry Truman, okay, let me pull this up here. My iPad, I almost lost it. Well, he began with, it's not happenstance that people would say of me, give 'em hell, Harry. You know, so he wanted that included. And then he said, I always respected the honor and the dignity of the office of the presidency of the United States of America. I adamantly refused any and all offers to ever profit from the presidency in all of my years of retirement and as a private citizen. Now, here's a quote that's in all the history books, but he wanted me to use this for context's sake. He said, remind people that I said, show me a politician that got rich while in office, and I will show you a crook. Okay, and then it goes back to the channeling. Holding to this stance, in my opinion, was sacrosanct. I was thrust into and later legitimately elected by the American people to protect their highest and best interests. There was never a minute where I did not treat this with the utmost of seriousness. In private, Harry Truman may have been a bit crude or have a propensity towards swearing. I was a cantankerous son of a bitch as anyone, but President Truman was another story altogether. I recognized that my behavior, both public and in private, had to be reflective of the fact that I was the person entrusted as a caretaker of the dignity of the highest office in the land. The presidency that I was embodying lived and breathed within me and through the very conduct of my actions. The entire world was always watching me under a microscope, but I did my best to adhere to those standards even when the world wasn't. It became ingrained into my consciousness. It was a hell of a lot more responsibility than I had ever envisioned myself being in, but nonetheless, it was a God-given destiny, and it was my creed to give it my fullest. I would have felt like I was violating the higher will of God otherwise. You heard me use words like sacred and sacrosanct. Well, those words became my moment-to-moment mantras when I was in office. It was never once about the glorification of Harry Truman. The thought of that was repugnant to me. My very word, my every action was directed toward upholding the presidency. I was its caretaker. The rare times I allowed my personal self to come in, such as the time I felt compelled to write a scathing letter to a man who gave my daughter a bad review. I don't know if a little side note, his daughter tried to have an opera career, and this critic gave her a horrible review. Harry Truman was furious and wrote a letter to that critic. But anyway, that's what he's referring to. The rare times I allowed my personal self to come in, such as the time I felt compelled to write a scathing personal letter to a man who gave my daughter a bad review. I used a stamp purchased on my behalf at the post office, rather than my privilege as president to use the mail free of charge, which was a privilege accorded to me. This was not a letter from This was not a letter from President Truman. It was a personal letter from Harry Truman of Independence, Missouri. I was not about to even allow the cost of a 3-cent postage stamp be put upon the American people and their tax dollars for my personal use. This was my moral compass. It is out of respect of all of you listening that I do not wish to dismay or disappoint. I will strive not to swear, but that asshole currently holding office is deeply repugnant to my sensibility. He is the antithesis of what I stood for and believed in. It breaks my heart, but it does not destroy my heart, for I still hold to optimism. This is currently an American tragedy, and much has been decimated. Much will likely never be recovered. But I believe that you all will rebuild from the ruins. A sledgehammer has been taken to the White House itself. But please remember, the White House was once burned to the ground in 1812 and had to be rebuilt from the ground up. When I was president, the White House infrastructure was groaning and sagging. From sheer age and poor construction, it was on the verge of collapsing at any moment. Some said that the White House was only being held together by nothing but sheer faith and familiarity. My family had to move to Blair House to live. The entire White House had to be taken apart like a jigsaw puzzle, completely gutted out from top to bottom, and then meticulously rebuilt from scratch. Only the outer walls were left intact so that the American people could still be reassured that the White House was still standing, even if it's nothing more than a well-intentioned historical facade and an empty shell. And this happened under my own watch. It was like our flag was still standing. While the facade remained to give comfort and reassurance and a connection to the past for the American people, great modernization and innovations were conducted behind all of this. It was being rebuilt and solidly reinforced for future generations. Experts insisted that the entire building needed to be torn down, but we refused. We knew how traumatizing and destabilizing it would have been otherwise. The White House has always survived and prevailed, and it will survive the travesties of this lunatic currently residing there. This is one of the reasons it serves as a metaphor for a situation that presently looks distressing and hopeless. Well, we will pull ourselves up from the rubble and ruins of the moment. We always have. I feel the same way about the presidency, the American government, and most critically, our precious democracy. They will be rebuilt and structurally reinforced. Ultimately, as we found with the White House rebuild from the inside out, it was something that was essential and intrinsic to its long-term survival. We built it better and stronger, and we built it to last. Otherwise, in time, it would have imploded upon its own self. There was no other way. And then he concluded with, our nation will also be more structurally sound, and it will last.
Oh,
That's what I got from Harry Truman. What do you think?
I think that it's a terrifying time to be alive, particularly, if you're a woman, because this thing has taken hold, this psychotic male on steroids has taken over the world. And women's rights are slipping here in the United States, and human rights are slipping. Israel now, Israel started off as a democratic socialist country, communist, they were communists and socialists that were building the kibbutz, the commune, comrade, we're all together and one for all. It was going to be this great utopia, and we're going to build this Shangri-La. And slowly the kibbutz died and the people's movement died, and these right-wing nut jobs showed up. And women now, out of 142 countries in Israel is now 88.
Yeah.
Be one of the
88.
We were
said that the other day on the show.
Yeah, women were fought in the war of in the 6-Day War. We fought in the War of Independence.
Yes.
We fought alongside our male comrades, and it was all, as the kibbutz, everybody was equal. Nobody had more money than anybody else. We were simple people. We had our t-shirts and blue jeans and our oranges, and it was like, and integration probably would have happened. Palestinians and Jews, we all would have eventually just lived on the kibbutz. It was evolving in that direction. And instead, now we have these right-wing nut jobs. So the same thing that's happening in the United States is happening in Israel. It's happening all over. And it makes me fear for my rights and the rights of everybody else.
Well, I keep feeling that feminine energy is moving in, and male energy is becoming obsolete, and it's slowly leaving. It's just that male energy is kicking and screaming and rebelling. Because I was asked, why am I channeling so many female souls? And I think it's because they're all indicative of that female energy that's coming in. And that's why they're so eager to speak, knowing that there's a platform here for them to be heard. And I hope you'll pardon me, while you were talking, I was just glancing at comments here. That's why I seem momentarily distracted. Someone was asking me if I do automatic soul writing or something. it's nothing elaborate. I don't go into any trances or anything like that. I just sit, meditate, get quiet, and I just start writing. It's like what you do, Whimsy, with your Heart Center remote viewing. I just start writing. I just start feeling the words. I hear the words, but I feel the words, like here. And I just start writing them down. And it always amazes me. And I read it back and I see complete sentences. And not only do I see complete sentences, the personality of the soul comes through. And I know it's not for me. I know I'm just a vessel receiving this. I hope that answers that question.
Well,
and
it's the same. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but someone else asked a question about the cards. Was I using Sonia Choquette's it was Trust Your Vibes cards? No, it's Sonia Choquette's Ask Your Guides cards. And I don't follow her guidebook or anything. I just use the cards intuitively as I get messages. I just use them as a tool. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, Whimsy. I just wanted to answer those before I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that channeling is awesome, and sometimes the strangest things come out of your mouth, like when I was the queen telling somebody to leave and take your dowry with you. I mean, like,
Yeah.
the weird stuff will come out of your mouth, and I guess I found out afterwards he had no dowry, right? So she was the queen. She was the queen bee, and who the hell are you to talk to me like that? You're just a pauper that I let you come in. And so I didn't know the dynamics when it was coming out of my mouth, but then afterwards, I guess somebody said he had no dowry. So he had nothing. So she took this guy in who had nothing. So that's what that was about.
He had some titles. Wasn't he a Greek prince?
Yeah, but I think they were broke.
They were broke. Yeah, well, they certainly showed that on the crown. Yeah.
His mother gave everything away. I mean, to save Jewish lives. She started selling so they thought, have you lost your damn mind? You're selling the furniture, you're selling the gold. Well, yes, to get the people out because they're going to die if I don't. They put her in a psych hospital and gave her electroshock and said she was schizophrenic.
Yeah, they showed that on the crown, how she was wanting to sell things in Buckingham Palace. Like, you have so many clocks. Can't you part with one of those clocks? And the queen was like, oh dear, we'll have to see.
Right. What a special woman she was.
Yeah.
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 Well, did you have fun today, my love?
I had a great time. You mean we're already done?
It's already 6:14.
This goes by so fast.
I know it does. I don't see any more questions though. Oh, wait a minute. We have one here. Did Truman meet the ETs after the Roswell crash? That might be a fun one to close with. Oh, I did have something I wanted to show people.
Yes.
I had done, I had before, we always have a little extra time at the end, but what was his name? Chaos Mogul. Let me find him. But Chaos Mogul, is that it? UFO. He has some recent film footage, and I want to explain what we're seeing because I did a remote view of this, and it's one of ours. I believe it's one of ours. Let me see if I can find it. But I think he just released it. What you see is something rotating, and I had seen that remote view before, and what had come out from the remote was that the rotation is sucking air into the drone. And so the movement of the movement that you're going to see the thing twisting, it draws the okay, let me see if I hold on. So let me show it to you. I've got it here. That rotation you're seeing is causing air to be sucked into the drone, and that's actually one of ours. And I know because I did the technology. So the purpose of the rotation at the center of the drone is that it's sucking air into the center. And because of how the air is being sucked into the craft, it propels it wherever it needs to go based on the maneuver. So say, for example, if you maneuvered it to have the air going backward, backwards, and you would propel forward. If you close things to have the air pushing to the left, you would move to the right. If you closed vents and opened it to the right, you would go to the left. Does that make sense to you?
It makes sense.
So you're just sucking air in, and you're using the air to propel you based on which vent is open. It's going to be able to tell where to go. So this is what it looks like. But what I found in the remotes was that's what's happening. But this is what it looks like.
Mexico. Now, UFOs are being seen all over the world, and we know this. We see them in various different shapes and sizes, from triangular crafts to flying saucers.
So you see the rotation that you're seeing in the center? This is a man-made drone, and that circulation, that vortex is sucking air into the center of the drone, and that is its propulsion.
Sounds like a very efficient design.
Yeah. So if I were to close one of the vents on the right side, so I can move in any direction based on how I maneuver the vents.
Yeah.
To orbs of light. But it's very rare for us to have an instant where a UFO...
I don't know what the hell this is. I'll be honest with you. I have no idea. It looks to be, but that doesn't seem to be one of ours.
UFO actually lands, let alone let a non-human biological entity arise from the craft itself. The last time, again, was in the Las Vegas UFO incident when Angel and his family heard the UFO crash in the backyard, heard the footsteps on the roof, then went to the backyard and saw these alien entities. And of course, the family were armed, had guns, and they were ready because they were scared as hell. Because could you imagine?
Yes, some of these I genuinely don't know what they are, but I just wanted to show you that one that it's one of ours. I can identify it because when I went in, I saw the propeller and that it was sucking the air in and causing it to go this way. And then they would close one vent and open it this way, and the propeller would cause it to go this way and then down and up. And I thought, wow, that's really ingenious.
Yeah, it is.
I had delivered that remote a couple of years ago, and now he had that film footage. I'm like, oh, I can show people the drone that I saw where it was a disc and then it had that section.
Yeah. Did you just intuitively know it was ours, or did you see like an American flag or something on there that indicated it was ours?
No, I remote viewed it and I went into the center and I felt like air was getting sucked in like a vortex through the center, and then the air in the center that was being drawn in was being used as to act in propulsion.
That's quite ingenious. I think drones, by their very nature, they're extremely lightweight anyway. So they're probably very efficient as far as needing any kind of fuel.
Yeah, and the more you move, so it also feeds itself, which is what I also found out from that remote, which is that it moves quickly because it's exposed to the air. So it's exposed to the air, which is causing it to rotate really quickly, which is causing it to draw oxygen air into its center, which is causing it to propel, which is causing it to go faster, which is causing it to propel, and it becomes this cycle. And you can keep it in the air longer. This is why I love being a remote viewer, because you can figure this out, but you can leave it in the air for much longer because its fuel sources, its ability to move, is the propulsion, and the propulsion is being produced by the moving is causing the movement of the propulsion, and it's drawing the oxygen in, which is causing the movement, which is increasing the propulsion. So that's how it works.
Yeah, isn't inertia the word for that? Or maybe I have it wrong, but for some reason that's popping into my head.
I don't know.
I guess it doesn't matter because you perfectly described how it works.
Yeah, it's just it's air powered. It's crazy because the more it hits the wind and moves, the more of a propulsion force it receives. Isn't that crazy?
Well, it just sounds like ingenious design.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed remote viewing it, but after I was done, I'm like, I think this might be U.S. Navy, U.S. Air Force, and this is a propulsion device using oxygen to propel using the air to propel, drawing it into the center of the craft, and then using it to push. And I thought that was pretty cool.
I do too.
All right, now we are officially done. Tell us what you're up to in case people want
Oh,
reading.
what am I up to?
Wait.
Well, having just channeled Harry Truman today, that was kind of my event for today.
Great job.
But same as always, I love doing readings for all of you who request them. It's my great honor and privilege. I also love doing artwork for you. I love channeling messages from subjects in the artwork. That's another of my specialties. You can reach me. My name reverse, Dransfield Chuck, one word, at gmail.com. I also have my little channel, Chuck's Captivating Chronicles, a little show on Mondays, Chuck's Captivating Chat, where I mostly just talk about light stuff like history of old Hollywood. I take a lot of my knowledge about I Love Lucy from a book I once worked on, talk about that, and have a lot of fun. And
I
you
wish
Whimsy?
you'd do more readings. I wish you would do more readings. People want more.
I will get there. It's just I have this audience. They already want to ask questions about show business and stuff. Before I know it, the whole hour has gone by, and sometimes we'll go into an hour and a half. But I should incorporate that more, and it's good practice for me too. The more I do this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool channel. All right. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find me on Booksy by Googling me, Dr. Whimsy Anderson, and you'll find my Booksy link. And I think that's all we have for you. All right. Again, don't forget to check out the book. It is our book of the month. And of course, Adam Gabriel Steinmetz will be in our studio 6 p.m. next week.
Tuesday, election day.
Oh, is it election day?
Yeah. Do you know we have only one thing on the ballot here in California? I've never seen this before. One thing. We're voting on Proposition 50, for the redistricting.
And I know how you're going to vote.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right.
Easy vote to cast.
That's right. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you all next time. Thank you
See you
all.
next
Don't
Tuesday.
forget to like and subscribe.
Please. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Love you.